In April 2021, a security camera installed inside an armored truck captured the exact moment when several vehicles attempted to ambush it while it was traveling. While speeding down the highway, armed criminals tried to block the truck in order to rob it. In South Africa, this kind of attack is nothing new. These groups are known for their skill in carrying out ambushes against armored trucks. But what they don't know is that the man with glasses behind the wheel is not just an ordinary security guard. He is Leo Prinsloo, a former elite special operations operator from South Africa. In this video, we will examine every detail of that intense incident. Leo will also tell his story directly. Leo Prinsloo, who has been dubbed by many as the South African Chuck Norris because of the extraordinary courage and skill he showed in the face of danger. But before we begin, if you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe so you'll always stay updated on videos like this. Before we break down the viral video and Leo Prinsloo's role, we first need to look back at the deeper roots of one of the biggest problems facing South Africa. For more than 20 years, it's as if this country has been in the middle of a silent but real war. Since the early 2000s, attacks against armored trucks carrying large amounts of money have gradually increased. The highways traveled by these vehicles have become like real battlefields. Compared with crime in other parts of the world or even in other African countries, some might think that this is just a simple robbery. But in South Africa, it's a different story. Since 2003, the number of this type of crime has risen rapidly. As early as 2006, there were already around 300 recorded robberies involving armored trucks. By 2008, this number had grown to almost 400 cases. That means, during that time, more than one armored truck was being targeted for robbery every day. And this doesn't even include the failed ambushes, the cases that were never reported, or the incidents that some security companies deliberately hid to avoid bad publicity. But what's even more frightening than the number of these incidents is the level of planning and professionalism involved. This type of crime is known as cash-in-transit robbery, or attacks on vehicles transporting money. Many organized groups are involved in these operations. There are international criminal networks operating across neighboring countries, involved in smuggling weapons, money, and even people. In many instances, they are able to do this with the help or collusion of some corrupt local officials. They also collaborate with local street gangs, which are smaller organizations but are very familiar with every street and area. Some of them even have connections with government figures or other institutions, which gives them protection against the law. Corruption is really a big problem in South Africa, and these syndicates know this very well. They are not just ordinary thieves. Every operation is organized. Each member has a clear role. They use modified vehicles, signal jammers to block communication, tactical vests, and encrypted radios so their conversations can't be easily intercepted. Another one of their most effective tactics is placing informants inside the companies that operate armored trucks themselves. Because of this, they know the exact route, travel time, amount of money being transported, and even the level of security of each vehicle they are targeting. It's not just ordinary criminals involved in these attacks. These also include groups made up of former soldiers and veterans who fought in various armed conflicts in southern Africa. Many of them have undergone formal military training. They are experts in using explosives, automatic weapons, and are skilled in planning ambushes. They are also trained to operate as an organized unit, as if they are actually on a battlefield. So now maybe you understand better why I say this problem is more serious than it first appears. This isn't just an ordinary theft committed by amateur thieves. Their operations can almost be considered paramilitary missions because of the level of their discipline, coordination, and tactical training. One of the cities most severely affected by this kind of crime is Pretoria, the administrative capital of South Africa. The location of Pretoria is very important. because it serves as the main route for armored trucks transporting money to and from major financial centers such as Johannesburg, Limpopo, and other regions of the country. In addition, many of the routes taken by these vehicles pass through Johannesburg, Limpopo, and other regions of the country. They pass through remote areas and suburban roads. In some places, the authorities' response time is very slow and sometimes no help arrives at all. Because of this, these routes have become almost perfect spots for paramilitary groups at the syndicate level. Over the years, these groups have further improved their tactics. The level of their professionalism is both shocking and frightening. They usually use multiple vehicles moving together in a planned formation. They communicate using encrypted radios or secure communication so that authorities cannot easily monitor them. One vehicle will block the front of the armored truck. Another one will follow behind, while others will surround it on both sides until the target has nowhere else to go. This tactic is called box formation, a strategy taken directly from military operation manuals. If you've seen the scenes in Fast and Furious, their style is almost like that, but in real life, it's much more dangerous and deadly. Once the armored truck is completely stopped, the criminals use commercial explosives. Explosives, such as igniter cords or shock tube detonators, are used to blow open the reinforced doors of the vehicle and get the money inside. There are some groups that use even more deceptive methods. They pretend to be police officers, set up fake checkpoints, and sometimes even use fake ambulances as getaway vehicles so that people or authorities won't immediately suspect them. What's even more impressive and at the same time frightening is the speed of their operations. Usually, the entire attack is finished within just 3 to 4 minutes. In many cases, 90 seconds is enough to ambush the target, get inside the armored truck, take all the money, and for the perpetrators to escape completely before any help arrives. Because of this worsening situation and the lack of quick action from South African authorities, the companies operating armored trucks have been forced to take their own measures. First, they reinforced their vehicles. They made them faster, with stronger armor and more capable of withstanding intense attacks. After this, they also improved the equipment of their personnel. They provided them with bulletproof vests, assault rifles, and better communication equipment. But despite all these changes, their defenses remained lacking against organized and heavily armed syndicates. Because of this, the companies decided to hire former police officers or ex-special forces operatives as security escorts. People with extensive experience in intense situations and the ability to face armed criminals. One of these personnel is Leo Prinsloo. But who really is Leo Prinsloo? For over a decade, he was part of the South African Police Service, where he reached the rank of captain under the Special Task Force, the most elite special operations unit in South Africa. This is a group composed of highly trained operatives ready to handle the most dangerous missions, rescue operations, high-risk arrests, protection of high-profile individuals, and counter-terrorism missions. In other words, this is the equivalent of the SWAT team or FBI HRT in other countries. During his time in the STF, Leo Prinsloo served as a sniper and participated in various armed encounters. He was also part of the security detail that protected several prominent personalities, such as Nelson Mandela, Queen Elizabeth II, and even some former presidents of the United States. There are also reports that among those they guarded were the Kardashian sisters, although this is not usually mentioned in official records. By 2021, Leo Prinsloo worked as an escort driver for Fortis Proactive Defense, a private security company focused on high-risk transport operations. On April 22 of that year, around 10:30 in the morning, he was on a familiar route. It was a day that seemed normal at first until gunfire suddenly erupted. According to some analysts, it seems that Prinsloo saw signs of danger even before the bullets started flying, based on several instances when he glanced at the rearview mirror. But in an interview, Prinsloo himself clarified that wasn't what happened. According to him, he didn't receive any warning. The only moment he realized there was an attack was when he heard the gunshots. In an instant, he found himself in a situation that was almost impossible to control. He was driving an armored truck at speeds over 120 kilometers per hour in the middle of traffic, while windows were being smashed, bullets were raining down, and he was surrounded by armed enemies. But despite all that, Leo Prinsloo remained calm and never lost control of the vehicle. And if you think about it, that alone would have been enough to call his actions heroic. But that's not where it ends. What followed was complete chaos. Many vehicles belonging to the criminals had already surrounded the convoy. At one point, they even managed to force the escort vehicle off the road, leaving Leo's armored truck on its own. Prinsloo kept driving while being chased by the attacking vehicles. On one stretch of the highway, some of the criminals' vehicles stopped. The people inside got out, seemingly armed, and tried to block the road to stop him. But if he stopped, it was clear that would be the end. Instead, he quickly swerved and passed by their side, continuing to drive through the chaos. Many are asking why Leo Prinsloo and his companion, Lloyd Tom Bemy, did not return fire, even though it's clear in the video that they were also armed with assault rifles. A question that added more weight and mystery to the whole incident. And even though at first glance, it seemed like the best thing to do was to return fire. And that's also the instinct that would immediately come to mind in this kind of situation. At that moment, it would be a huge mistake. And there are several reasons why. First, the armored vehicle that Prince is driving doesn't have any firing ports or openings for shooting from inside. So if they try to return fire, they would have to open the door while in the middle of an ambush, which means they would be directly exposing themselves to a continuous hail of bullets. In addition, the space inside the vehicle is also very small, making it difficult to move properly while fighting. Second, and even more important in this kind of ambush, it doesn't matter if you're holding an assault rifle, an anti-material rifle, a grenade launcher, or even a flamethrower. Your most important weapon remains your vehicle itself, especially if it is armored. This is your protection, your shield against enemy bullets. This is also your main offensive tool, just like how Leo Prinsloo uses it to ram vehicles blocking his way. And most importantly, this is also the only way to escape. In this kind of situation, stopping to engage in a shootout or taking your eyes off the road to fire back is almost certain death. And if you still have doubts, listen to the explanation of Leo Prinsloo himself. According to him, that was the first and primary option they used until all possibilities were exhausted, until the vehicle was completely destroyed or disabled. Because if they changed their strategy in the middle of the operation, the entire incident might have had a different outcome. Meanwhile, many people on the internet criticized and mocked Lloyd Tom Bemy, his co-driver. They pointed out his seemingly cold and unreactive demeanor in the middle of the intense encounter. But what many people don't know is that Tom Bemy was only on his 4th day at work in that security company. Imagine that. You're just a newcomer, and suddenly you have to face an armed ambush carried out by professional criminals. That situation was really difficult. In fact, if you get through such an incident without completely collapsing from stress, you can already consider yourself lucky. Even Leo Prinsloo defended his companion. According to him, it's easy for people who are just watching from the outside, sitting in front of a screen or watching action movies, to comment and judge. But reality is different when you're the one inside the vehicle, wearing a bulletproof vest, and in the middle of a shootout. In this kind of situation, the worst thing a co-driver can do is to panic or do anything that could distract the driver. Sometimes, staying calm and not being a distraction is the most important help you can give. And if there's nothing you can do to help, the best thing to do is not to get in the way, especially in life or death situations. But let's go back to what actually happened. After avoiding the roadblock set up by the criminals, Leo Prinsloo continued driving on the highway. Meanwhile, the attackers, having failed in their first tactic, changed their strategy. A vehicle once again approached from the side, trying to get alongside the armored truck to open fire or block the road. But Leo Prinsloo did not lose control. He immediately adjusted the gear, and at just the right moment, he rammed the criminals' vehicle enough to destabilize it and thwart their plan. Eventually, Leo realized that on the open highway, they were easy targets, so he decided to turn onto narrower roads. There, the attackers' advantage was reduced. Their movements and coordination became more limited. At that point, the situation became more even. While Lloyd kept trying to get the co-driver to call for backup, although it wasn't successful, Leo Prinsloo chose to head to a predetermined safe point, a place the company used as an emergency assembly area. He knew they still weren't safe, and even reaching their destination could lead to the criminals following and a more intense confrontation. But in the end, the attackers eventually retreated and abandoned the chase. Why they gave up, we can't say for sure. Most likely, after several failed attempts, they realized their chances of success were too low, especially in the urban and confined area where Prinsloo ended up. It's also possible they ran out of ammunition, or they were afraid that backup forces were on their way. And maybe they also realized that their target was not just an ordinary driver, but someone with military training, an operative, who knew how to fight in this kind of situation. And if you look at the scene where Leo Prinsloo got out of the truck and took his rifle, you can see that he was still prepared for anything that might happen, even though the chase was already over. In the end, the criminals retreated and Prinsloo, Lloyd, and their cargo survived the entire ambush without any harm. Weeks and months passed, and the video of this incident spread and went viral all over the world. The video was even used as an example of professionalism under fire, a demonstration of how a person trained for this kind of situation acts. Overall, Leo made it clear. The key to surviving this kind of ambush is not just courage, but proper training, discipline, and the ability to make calm decisions in the midst of chaos. However, this incident is not just an extraordinary achievement of one person. It is also a reminder of a deeper problem that has affected South Africa for a long time, a crime that still exists to this day and has not yet been fully resolved. And perhaps stories like these serve as a way to show the world how heavy the reality is that some places face behind those viral videos. And that's the whole story. If you like this video, you can support the channel by subscribing to our channel. I'm Noel Polo TV. This is Noel Polo TV, and see you in the next video.